So hello everybody. Now somebody said to me, you write all those pieces in Forbes. Why don't you just do a YouTube video about them? Rather than me having to go to Forbes and read the words, you could just do a YouTube and I'd watch that. And I thought, well, that's not going to be very difficult. I've just written an article. It's taken me a couple of hours. The idea's in my head, so I can just go out and just say it. So this is the first one of those. And it's really, really not a happy piece because, when I was listening to what the guys from Washington were saying at the beginning of the year, it seemed to me that they were saying, hey, Europe, you've got to deal with Putin. We've got to deal with China. And really, the dealing with amounts to borderline war. That's just horrific and a terrible thing to think about. I have actually done very well from that thought because I bought a load of defense stocks and I bought a load of precious metals. And that is, the position for any investor if he thinks that war is approaching or getting closer. And as I've been saying in a lot of podcasts, gold is for war, Bitcoin is for flight. And, every time there's about to be someone who's about to get bombed, up goes Bitcoin in advance. And gold, well, at 3,000, whatever it is today, heading probably towards 5,000, the idea that gold is for war keeps being substantiating. But, old paranoid men thinking the world's going to end, that's, a bit of a meme, a bit of a trope. And you will just go across all media and you'll read doom, 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 doom. And of course, it never happens. When I was a kid, gold was going to go through the roof. It didn't, apart from 79, and it came back down. And the dollar was going to collapse. And the dollar was going to collapse in the 70s and in the 80s and in the 90s and then in the tweenies. And it's still going to collapse and it still hasn't. So, old men being miserable and talking about the end of the world, that is just a given. However, now it transpires that anybody I talk to that's anything to do with government, they seem to think that World War III has already started, which is an appalling thought. And, war is an abomination. And I hope I'm wrong. But having kind of sensed that was what people would say was coming, it now, as a thought, seems to have arrived. Now, hopefully, it ain't going to happen. Hopefully, the Chinese are not going to invade Taiwan, etc., etc., etc. But there's not a lot you can do to avoid it. So when you're thinking about investing, you need to keep those ideas in mind, that we are in this never-ending cycle of increased global stress. And it is, in many people's minds, already a situation that we are in conflicts. And you can't invest properly if you haven't got that down in your list of factors to bear in mind. So that's all I'm going to say right now, that as far as a lot of people in significant authority are concerned, there's at very least a Cold War going on. And hopefully it'll stay cold. Everybody will see some sense and get back to doing things that create prosperity rather than death and destruction. You can only hope, but you can't hope that it's going to go that way. You've got to position yourself to prosper either way. So that's my thought. You've got to hope for the best, prepare for the worst. And that's a very solid plan for anybody who's going to be investing in the markets.